Viewers, welcome to day 11. Today we are going to be looking at Zanac for the NES, obviously. Zanac is a shooter made by Compile in 1987. Now, what can I tell you about Zanac? Well, the box says the system was created by an organic intelligence body made millenniums ago and began attacking the human race. The Earth was thrown into turmoil with only one hope for salvation. Fighter model AFX 6502 Zanac was perfected by the 256th Riot Fleet to ward off the enemy system. It is your job, as Zanac, to save the human race using 8 special weapons and secret power forces buried along the way. Guide Zanac through 12 screens of enemy creatures to victory. So Zanac, made by Compile, the same folks who worked on Zanac and Guardian Legend, and it plays very similarly to the shooting sections in Guardian Legend. Also blazing lasers and Puyo Puyo, very similar to this. It was first released for the MSX, then the Famicom, then the NES, and is now on the Virtual Console. It's also available on the PlayStation as Zanac x Zanac. It's a very fun game. It's a very classic Compile game. When you think Compile games, you know, like Guardian Legend and all of that, this is a game that is quintessentially Compile. There's a ton of stuff going on screen at the same time, but somehow they managed to just throw all of this stuff at you, making the game seem, oh my god, I'm gonna die, but always keeping you just enough alive to make you want to keep playing it. Plot-wise, it's very basic space shoot-'em-up plot. Nothing really super special or super fancy. Controls are very good. Different power-ups along the way change your weapon from not only your weapon but your secondary weapon. That's the one, special weapon. They range from directional bullets to shields to projectiles. When you die, you lose all your accumulated power-ups, which kind of suck. The enemies in Zanac include meteors, bullet-shooting aircraft, discs, turrets, planes. Bosses are usually stationary fortresses, ground turret kind of things you have to destroy. Think the first boss of the first flying section in Guardian Legend. There are many bosses that will appear sparingly throughout the game. What makes Zanac unique is the enemy AI. The enemy AI in Zanac has what is called the ALC, or Automatic Level of Difficulty Control. The ALC measures the system's aggressiveness and the game's difficulty depending on the actions of the player. So your attack pattern and skill level and all that will actually mold the game to fit what it thinks is difficulty appropriate for you. Man, I cannot speak. The ALC increases for experts, but it decreases for inexperienced players. Shooting the main cannon a lot, collecting power-ups, and failing to destroy bosses in a time limit increases the ALC. Tougher enemies on screen, losing lives, starting a new level, destroying planes and things like that. Reconnaissance jets, if you want to call them that, will reduce the enemies on screen. Zanac was initially released in '86 for the MSX. Again, Compile released it. Compile also brought us Blazing Lasers, Devil Crush. A lot of great games. It was then re-released for the MSX2 that same year as Zanac EX, which had better graphics and sound. It was then ported and heavily reworked for the Famicom in '86. And then we got it here in North America in '87. The NES version is on the Virtual Console and was published by D4 Enterprises, and it is identical to the original NES version. They released a compilation, Compile did, for the PlayStation in 2001, called Zanac X Zanac, which we mentioned a little while ago, to commemorate the 15th anniversary of the original. It also features an updated version of Zanac called Zanac Neo, and all 3 versions of the NES game, including one with enhanced graphics and sound. Also has 2-player co-op, as well as a remix of the soundtrack. Zanac is a unique shoot-'em-up game, combining elements from other games like Xevious, the extensive power-up system and vertical scrolling with air and ground targets. It's been called an extremely fast-paced shooter in which the player is almost completely surrounded by enemy ships and bullets, which is pretty much any compile game. It's got fantastic music. It's just a wonderful game. It is a lot of fun, and I think anybody who's into shooters is just... it's in for a treat if you're going to play this. While the graphics and the music are really good, they were kind of primitive. There is a fairly steep learning curve in difficulty, and there is English in the game and the instruction manual, which, it happens. It's been said that Zanac, while fearsome, don't have much personality. But I still love it.